Because each of you are so special. Have you ever heard the saying, like, what do they think? She's God's gift to the world? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Do you know why? God made you. He made you special. You're gifted, different from anybody else in this room. Your life experiences are different than anybody else here. I would venture to say that there's probably not two people in this room that were born on the same day of the same year. There's probably none of us that all went to the same school. Are there two people that went to school together all through the school year? You guys? Okay, sisters, that kind of doesn't count. Kind of had to. But do you see how unique each one of us are? God wanted us to be unique. Look at the giraffe. Look at a hippopotamus. Look at the beauty of a peacock. He didn't want all the animals to look all the same. He wanted us to be different and special. We've all had different experiences. We've had trials and tribulations in our life. But how many of you can say, I have seen the hand of God at work? I have seen miraculous things happen. When somebody said it wasn't going to work, I prayed and it worked. I remember a time when I had little to no money. I had a washer that kept my faith very relevant and very real, because somebody told me I was not, that this wasn't true, but if I prayed over the washer, it would work. If I didn't pray over the washer, it didn't work. That was God's way of saying, you need me for everything. He uses those things to reveal himself to us. Did you talk about the questions that were on the board? Like, what was your first car that you drove? Shout one out. What was the first car that you drove? A Camaro was your first car. Woo! Somebody else? 58 Rambler station. Stick or automatic? Oh, okay. Push button. What? Good for you. Awesome. 56 Ford? Wow. Anybody else? How about, who was their first car? Was a truck? A Volkswagen. There you go. Somebody else was going to say something over here. Who was going? A 50 Ford was your first truck? Or your first car you drove? Wow. Wow. Early Packards. Wow. Wow. First car I drove was a 74 Pinto station wagon. But isn't that neat though? That's something else that we're different, but yet we're together. It's that battle of learning how to drive, learning how to figure it out, push all the things and get your feet a-going. I'm sure your parents just had their eyes covered as you drove out the driveway, didn't they, as they went? That's that faith and trust. How about some of your favorite meals? Thanksgiving dinner, pizza. Who's got a meatloaf? Meatloaf. Prime rib. There you go. There you go. Stuffed chicken breast. Lobster's always good. Don't ever turn that one down. Good. Good. See, we're getting to know one another a little bit. You know, the Lord's been impressing on my heart how much that we are gifts of God. He made us special, like I said. Not one other person is like you, not like me. Some people say thank you for that, Jesus, that nobody else is like me. But also my life experiences has molded me to be the person that I am. I've had hardships. I've had disappointments. I've had incredible miracles. And they've molded me to be the person that I am, to trust God more. We're also gifts for God. Because our gift for God is when we spend time with Him. Then we're given back to Him that gift that He gave to us. And that's time, and that's worship, and that's adoration. As we spend time with Him, don't we get to know Him just a little bit more? I remember my dad, a very interesting person, but he would tell people, you know what you need to do? You just need to go down. You need to go down to the church, sit in the pew, and shut up. And he said, because how are you going to listen to God if all you're doing is talking? In our intimacy with the Lord is when we quiet down and He begins to talk with us. And that's our gift that we give back to God. So now we're a gift for God. And then the part, as we've recognized that we were made special in His image, and that we are a gift for God, and now we're a gift from God to the world. Because each one of us has something that is only for you to give. You can only do what God has empowered you to do. I can't do it. We are all empowered and gifted in ways that maybe we haven't even realized yet. So we really are God's gift to the world. And we need to embrace that. So if somebody says, what do you think, you're God's gift? Mm-hmm. Yep. I really do. Do you know why I know that? Because God said I was. He said I was made in His image. Jesus was a gift to the world. If Jesus abides in me, then that's the gift that I give. I want to show you two pieces of things that impacted me as I was getting ready for this tea. Can you see it? What are some words that describe it? What? Old. Antique. Huh? It used to be sterling silver, I think. It's tarnished. Got a couple of dents. It's used. Yeah. Practical. There you go. Wonder where it was served. Wonder who it served. Pardon? That's right. It's pretty ornate if you look at it. It was probably something spectacular when it was new. It's got a couple of, it's bent, and I think it's, and this is what really started working on my heart for the message. And then I found this dish. Can you see it? Do you see it? What do you notice about it? Mended. It's glued back together. See it? It's flowers. It's pretty. It was part of a set, I would imagine. But it's glued back. Is it still useful? I think so. As I began to pray, the Lord began to show me different things about it. I saw the same things. Look at where the silver got scrubbed off. And I thought, who uses silver pots anymore anyway? But who owned it? And who discarded it? I think sometimes This is the way we feel. Broken. Tired, worn out, dented. Tarnished. Used. Tired. Bent, beat up. Discarded. All these things I found in secondhand shop. Everything on the table, save a couple that people have donated, have all been in secondhand shops. Discarded. Marked down. I think one of the things that affect women of our age is we feel like, what's left? I'm old. You know, many of you celebrated my 60th birthday with me. I keep telling Charles, I can't believe I'm 60. I can't believe it. When did that happen? I am old. I know you guys are, some of you are older than I, but it's like, when did this happen? When did the tarnish get all scrubbed off? I think sometimes we feel like that. We feel useless. We feel worn out. And sometimes through life's experiences, we feel discarded, broken. Outdated. That's what I thought about the silver pots. Who uses those anyway? That's outdated. Who wants that anymore? I know some days I do. I notice that I make a little more noise when I walk. I don't think I could sneak up on anybody. There's little cracks and pops. I'll tell you something. Maybe some of you guys know this. I have a stationary bike in my house. It gets used, maybe once in a while. And there is a stationary bike. I use it at night because I have restless leg. So I'll get up and ride my bike in the middle of the night. Good thing Charles doesn't hear it, but anyway, so one night I was walking to the bathroom, and I tripped and fell, and my kneecap hit the bar on the bike. I remember hitting that with my knee, and I remember waves of nausea. And I remember thinking, that really hurt. I made my way back to the bed, whimpering silently. No. Hurt for days. Whew. Wow. About May, I noticed that my knee was not strong. I would notice that I didn't feel like I could trust it. So I went to the doctor, took an x-ray, and he said, so you fell in February? Did you go to the doctor? No. Did you go get an x-ray? You broke your kneecap. And I said, so that's why it hurt so bad. It's healing now, he said. When I was 15, I was a cheerleader. I could jump, I could flip, I could do all kinds of stuff. I could have stuck the landing. I can't anymore. It's amazing how when you get up from the floor, how you get up on all fours and then you crawl your way up the wall. We feel tired. We don't have as much energy as we used to. But there's hope. Do you want to know what it is? It's exciting. It is to me. In the book of Timothy. Now, do you think in the Bible it would talk about teapots? It does. Kind of. In the book of Timothy, chapter 2, verse 20 and 21, it says, in a large house there's articles not only of gold and silver, but also of wood and clay. Some are for special purposes, and some for common use. Those who cleanse themselves from the latter will be instruments for special purposes, made holy, useful to the master, and prepared to do any good work. Does it say it has to be new, non-dented, shiny, sparkly, the newest fashion? What does it say? Cleanse it. Just to cleanse it. All the teapots and all the glasses, all the stuff, I washed them, I cleansed them, because I wanted them to be used for you, to make them holy and set apart, to do the good work of welcoming you. I wanted you to feel special. I wanted you to come in and see you are worth it because you're a gift of God, for God, from God. So yes, in the Bible it talks about teapots. Doesn't name them quite like that, but they're vessels to be used. Sometimes we have to think of ourselves as like a teapot. Lord, I want to be used. I'm dirty. I'm tired. Will you cleanse me? Will you make me whole? I want to be used again. Will you do that for me, Lord? Says he will. Well, what if you're broken? What if things have happened in your life that your heart's broken? Can God use a broken vessel? It says he heals the brokenhearted. And he binds up the wounds. How many of you have bound up wounds of small children? Put a Band-Aid on it. What did you do after you put the Band-Aid on? You kissed it. Isn't that what Jesus does when he binds up our heart when we're brokenhearted? He takes it and he wraps it. And then he kisses it. Where else did we learn that from? But a loving God. Like the Good Samaritan that bound up those wounds and took the guy to be attended to. Do you suppose that sometimes our wounds are visible so we can remember where he touched, where he healed? And then when somebody says, wow, that's a big scar on your arm. What happened? Oh, let me tell you what Jesus did. I got a scar on my arm for where a dog bit me. Scared the puddings out of me. God protected me. God protected about 100 children that day with that dog. I can look at that mark and say, God was at work that day. He protected me. He protected children. And I got the sign to prove it. How many of us carry scars that are badges of honor that says Jesus worked here? Jesus touched me here. You know, in 2008, this is unscripted, but I feel like I'm supposed to share it. In 2008, my world came crashing down. My marriage of 35 years was gone, broken. How could I minister? I'm divorced. How can I share? Discarded, tarnished, dented. My heart was broken. The life that I dreamed was gone. Had lots of thoughts that, how could I ever be used again? Who'd want somebody like me? I went into churches. Some people came up and said, do you have a biblical reason to be divorced? Thanks. Already feel bad enough, thanks. But God began to use some women, some friends of mine that I didn't know were as dear and as powerful as they were. They came up beside me and they said, don't you give up. Don't you dare. And they'd hound me on the phone. Got some hounders in here? Don't you give up. Don't you let go. God, I had to open my heart again and allow Jesus to touch and heal the broken places. I'd known Jesus for a long time. I'd walked with him for a long time. But sometimes when you get hit, it knocks the air out of you. There's lots of women that need the message of, I'm going to stand with you. I'm going to walk with you. Come on, let's go. Each of you have had your own unique experiences, like I said before. I need to hear your stories. I need to hear them because they're going to strengthen me. When my friend came up to me and said, you are not giving up, I'm not going to let you. And she didn't. Where would I be today? What did she do? Spent time with me. Called me on the phone. Your stories of how God has touched you and affected your life and drawn you out of hardships and discouragements are what I need to hear and how many other women need to hear to get through the day. You think that you're outdated, unuseful? Oh no. We need godly women out there touching other people's lives. Do you realize that there's generations, at least 2 generations of women that really have no idea how to build a family? They don't know how to face trials and tribulations. Watch them in the stores. They don't know how to sew on a button. They don't know how to fry chicken. They go buy it down at the corner. True? Women set the atmosphere of the home. How many of you have heard the saying, if mama ain't happy? Does that say that mama sets the tone of the home? So if mama sets the tone of the home, oh, I don't care about this. I can't do it. I can't deal with it. What's that tell the kids? We women that know how to face problems. We women that have seen the power of God move. We women that have experienced the touch of the Lord need to show these women that have no clue how to face trials, how to come through them. Your experiences can transform a family. They can transform a marriage, help some children. Remember what it took when Paul wrote in Timothy, all we have to do to take the vessel, what do we have to do? Just clean it up. If you find somebody broken, say, I know who can fix you. I know somebody that can bind up your broken heart. It was amazing talking about kids not know how to do anything. I remember when I worked in hotels, I worked with girls that did not know how to make a bed. They didn't know how to do laundry. They didn't know how to go to the grocery store to buy their groceries for the week. You ladies know how to do that. You've done it for years. There's generations of ways that have been fallen off. Yet, I sit amongst a wealth of knowledge in this room. Do you realize the incredible experiences and knowledge that is sitting with you in this room? And the impact that it can have? Are you ready to be daring women? I don't get any takers. How many of you are daring? I got 1, 2, 3. Couple 3. Okay. Can you ask the Lord to cleanse your heart? Lord, I want to be a vessel. I don't want to be discarded on the bottom shelf in a store of life. I don't care if I'm a little tarnished, a little bumpy. I'm a little bumpy. I remember telling somebody, I said, I know the Lord has a parade. I know that he's going to do a work and he's going to do a mighty work, and I don't care if I clean up after the elephants. Just let me be a part of the parade. I don't have to be center. I don't have to, but just let me be a part. If you want to be daring, ask the Lord to cleanse your heart. And then ask the Lord to bring somebody in your life you can influence. It's amazing. He will send someone. It could be as simple as an encouraging word to somebody in a store. I was in a store the other day. Lady asked me how I was, and I said, I'm awesome. And she looked and she said, what? I'm awesome. Her normal response usually was, no, I'm awesome. She said, I'll have to try that. I said, I'm not going to let anybody choose how my day goes. Oh, her eyes got bigger. Really? And then she began to pour out her heart to me. What did I do? I just let God work. She ended up telling me that without her faith, she didn't think she could get along. And I said, but you're an overcomer. Well, how do you know that? And I said, because the overcomer lives in you. Her eyes got bright. Yeah. She was encouraged by just a simple word of bringing truth back to her. I think we can all share a simple word with somebody. Sometimes it's the smallest things that have the biggest impact. Sometimes just sharing with people the vast knowledge that you have. You guys can. You crochet. You sew. You're talented. You know how to make dishes that I wouldn't even attempt. Yet, those are ways that you can draw somebody in and say, let me show you how to do this. Through that, you can communicate. These are just ideas. Have you thought about, instead of tapping your foot and growling at the cashier, what do you mean it doesn't have a price? Oh, just go get the price. Isn't that what we do in the store? Lord, this is a 20 or less, and he's got about 2 cards worth of stuff. Just, doesn't he know I'm in a hurry? Goodness. Rather than to say, wow, there's a lot of food in there. He must have a big family. Wonder if he's working. Lord, can you bless him? Can you encourage him? He looks tired. How does that change where the Lord takes us and what lines we get into? What about how many of you guys go to the doctor? Some of us more frequently than others. Perfect opportunity to pray because you're there for a long time. In the waiting room and then in the other room. I'm allowed to say that. I used to work for doctors. It's time. That's when you can look at, you don't have to talk to them out loud. Lord, boy, she looks worried. Will you give her mercy and courage for what she's facing? And sit there. How is God going to use that? Prayers are powerful. Prayers transformed my life. They're powerful. You could send a card to somebody. How about praying when you watch the news? A lot to pray about there. So as we take a look at these old things, I bet I could serve some sweets to a young girl and talk to her about Jesus. Set on a table. Maybe I could make a friend around the table. I bet if I heated up this pot with water, take it to somebody that I know that's sick, and have a cup of tea with them. Tell them I care about them. That influences people. Ladies, there's much, much to do. How many of you can find the verse in the Bible that says that we're allowed to retire? I have searched and searched. I can't find it. You guys can't either? To retire. That's right. But I can find some verses that talk about women that made a difference all around them. They opened their heart for others to see the courage that they had. Women like Hannah, Deborah, Elizabeth, Dorcas, Priscilla, Ruth, Sarah, Eunice, Mary. You know, when I'm gone from this world, I want people to say of me, wow, she loved the Lord. She loved her family. And she loved people and influenced them wherever she went. That's the gift that I want to leave behind. I want people to know that I was a gift of God, for God, from God. And I challenge you ladies, maybe in the next couple of days, weeks, begin to pray and see what God's going to do.